Hey, it's Tony in the Shire. Welcome back to Hobbit Racing. We are back from vacation. No, not that campground, not the Hobbit Racing Park campground. That kind of camping. Anyway, we're back. We're back and we're happy to be back. Hey, and do me a favor real quick before we get started. Hit that subscribe button if you're back and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Really helps out this channel doing those little things with these little cars as we continue to get bigger. So this time on this episode, we're going to explore more diorama, more scenery. I don't get a chance to do scenery, but when I do, I get inspired and I always upcycle things. So let's take a look at what I upcycled this time. So today is all about Frodo's place. So just give you a little bit of remembrance of how this was all working out. So this is meant to look like a stucco design from Boone's expressions of using the drywall mud. Just some simple Krylon, terracotta. You know, again, we're trying to go with the themes of the Shire, the darks, the clays, the mold, you know, the mosses. So plexiglass. So on the back of this, we've got what would be like sliding windows here, right? As if you were coming up to order food, and the you know, person taking your order would slide. Whoops, we got to get rid of that little spider web. Would be you know, taking your food order, right? And of course, this is my my idea for my sign. It's just made out of some stiff, multiple ply board, and then that is all laser printed, of course. And so, yeah, let's get some onion rings. And then that's glued on there as well. So right now what we're working on is more of this pretty sturdy board. And so we, we need countertops. So I'm just going ahead and I'm just taking, once again, busting out the Posca pen, right? Why not? The Posca pen is such an easy way to craft, right? We don't need to spend, it's about the intent. I want the detail here, right? I want the level of detail, right? I want the good level of detail. That's not what we're saying, but it's not to take away from the activity that's going on around the track. So when you put this up against it, if I just go ahead and just do some simple, well, easy for me to say, let's get some color on there, just get some color on there. Maybe I'm blocking myself. So let me turn up the ISO just a fraction to bring the light in a little bit differently. And so, yeah, just all I'm doing here is this, and you can see here's already one for the other side where there's going to be windows going down in this direction. So really just, again, just trying to enhance the feel and look of the track, combining the ancientness of the Hobbits and the Shire with the modern nature of, hey, this is a racetrack, right? So come eat at Frodo's, come get a burger, come get some onion rings, and especially if it's Thursday. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll flip the camera around, and we'll show you some of the rest of the features. Actually, I can show you there's some of the rest of the features. Some of the features are way underneath the track, underneath the Portia Bridge. So again, this piece right here only needed to have the terracotta done to a point, because back here there's going to be a grandstand in front of it, and so then you're going to have two more windows here. Similar circumstances, again, you'll have more windows behind it. And inside, as we said before, I think I showed on a couple of other ones, we'll get some 3D figures done up, and we've got the bar top to make some food. We've got little booths and everything set up. So, there's a lot going on. The ordering counter, right? This will be actually, of all things, you'll see this. The ordering counter from when you come up to a window will be right behind that. So when you look in, you'll see that sort of view right there. So you'll see the ordering counter from behind it. We'll have some kids, obviously, taking orders for burgers and onion rings. No fries at this place, onion rings. So yeah, so it's it's just an enhancement, where I think you've seen many times in the video, there's a checkered flag floor already there and the opening is there, and I haven't done a lot of work on it. So today was that day to get some work in on it. And there we go, just enough to add some realism, right? I don't even care about the underside of it, right? It's just enough to add some realism, and then, now we've got a baseline point because of our glass panels behind it. So now that the glass panels are behind it, I can simply go ahead and put this on a flat surface or a relatively flat surface. I can go ahead and I can get this guy in there to where I need it to be. I see I may have some carving to do where I've got some excess drywall. Get some excess drywall in there where I can't quite get that flat. Let's see why I can't get that flat. Maybe I could do something about it. Maybe I could be careful and do something about it in a way that no one notices, but it's going to be really tricky. Woo, cutting drywall mud with an X-Acto knife. I don't recommend it. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what this one's going to look like, right? No time like the present. And let's put it in there. Let's see what we can make. Get a fair amount of glue to be able to manipulate. And let's see what we can do. And make it relatively level to the surface we're trying to portray, or even, so that it's not sticking out further on one side than the other. You can always come in from the back side once it dries too. There we go. Now it's drying. All right. There's our first one. There's our first countertop. Looking pretty cool. So we'll get that in there and we'll take a peek at that over the track. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Whoa, well, there you go. There you go. There you have it. They are one step closer to getting their CO. Yeah. We'll get a certificate of occupancy going on there. Now they obviously that's a tight squeeze there. We're going to need some fencing there. That's super dangerous, right? We don't want patrons walking up. What a view it'll be, though, huh? A little bit loud on race days, but what a view it'll be for all those eating inside and all those cooking and everybody. Well, we ran into some technical difficulties with my microphone apparently there, and I'll just have to fill you in on the details. Right there will be a small set of bleachers. I wouldn't call it a grandstand. And that's why there is no other features on the outside of the building on that side. Folks will be able to bring their burgers and onion rings right up there on the bleachers. Going to need a small set of bleachers. That's probably one thing that I am not going to try and make myself. Kevin Sharp, Racetrack Scenics, I'm talking to you. So yeah, that's what's happening in that area. All right, let's do another hack. All right, again, you guys know by now, whenever you see me do scenery stuff, it's always an upcycle, right? Tirewalls, right? These might be the Tirewalls for Frodos if there's room. See what these are? If you guys know what these are, Metro shelves. So when you get a Metro shelf, you can put wheels on them. But if you don't, the inherent bottom that you can basically use, which is a hex screw, which can adjust the height underneath your Metro shelf. Well, this is so you don't mar your floors, right? But, we had a big project that one of my groups at work was working on that does research support services. And so some of our labs need massive amounts of Metro shelf and we need to overflow. And so, boy, I said, what are going to happen to those? Guess what was going to happen to these? Because they needed to be mobile. So they replaced where the nut would go with they replaced where the hex bolt would go with casters. That is another part of the Metro shelf. I'm not trying to plug Metro here, by the way. Whatever you want for your own configurations. Shoot, Marty's got a Metro shelf in his basement. He knows what we're talking about. His cars are sitting on it. But you get the idea, right? So if Marty might have 4 of these underneath his Metro shelf, unless they're on casters, and if they're on casters, he had these separately. So Marty, if you have these, guess what you can do? Take some hot glue and put a 1 and a 2 and a 3 real quick. Burn the edge of your finger and just make sure you get it relatively close. And then, you know what, afterwards, paint it whatever color tire. Sorry, that was really burning me. I had to get that off of there. Had to get that off of there. So paint that tire whatever color you want that tire to be, right? There you go. So let's make 3 of them. For my case, man, I'm being a little bit sloppy with the glue, trying to do this fast. I'm throwing the glue gun aside. That one didn't go on straight. Never fear the glue. Don't fear the glue. He is not the reaper. The glue won't bite you for too long. You get it if you put hot glue directly on your skin from the glue gun, yeah, it's gonna hurt for a moment. But you know, as I continue to abuse the glue gun, try and get them on there as straight as possible, right? They are intent to look like tires. And there you go. There's a 3 stack. I'm going 3 stacks high. I may build an artificial floor and a patio in front of Frodos so that these can be stacked. Otherwise, based on the height of the track, I'm wasting a tire, if not a tire and a half, based on the size of the MDF. As you can see, something like that would happen. So it's a little bit of a waste to, you know, to have the tire be below the track line. So then there you have it, right? Boom. And now you can get really creative. Right now, things can get even more creative. Do you want to leave them loose? Do you want to paint them? I've never seen a gray tire in my life, but then again, apparently nowadays we have red tires and we have green tires, and you know, that's just a slot car thing, obviously, from some of the different national and international championships that we're doing, where tire is being done in a color to make sure no one's cheating, to be perfectly honest, because that way it specs the color and everybody knows that everybody's compliant. At least that's my understanding of it. But, you know, take your sandpaper out if you want to, right? Get this all cleaned up to make it look like a tire. You know, sure, go ahead and, hey, listen. Grab the black, rattle can it up, and boom. And if you want to start getting creative and you're going to glue to the shape of your curve, right? I got a bunch of glue underneath here, but you know, you're going to glue to the shape of your curve or whatever, you know, whatever, you know, just boom. Or if you want to get super creative and you're going to start to get, you know, Le Mans heavy, and, you know, they painted the tires yellow and yellow and yellow and blue, then paint that tire yellow, paint that tire blue, paint that tire yellow, whatever you want to do, right? And if you really want to make it even look more official, take out your drill and drill a hole in the top. And then that top piece looks like a tire, right? There's so many things you can do to enhance that are so easy, you know. Just, here, you know, whatever. Let's just see how easy or how hard that is, right? I'll do the top of those 3. I'm sure it won't be overly complicated, right? We'll just take a brass bit, general purpose. There you go, right? And if that's not big enough for you, as that is slightly small, I won't lie to you, that looks a little bit small for if that tire was going to fit on a rim, so hang on. All right, something a little bit more realistic. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better, not so straight, but and there you have it, right? You know, clean up your edges and whatnot. You might have to re-glue since I put the glue right at the top on the next one. But, you know, now you've got a little bit more realistic, right? You got a hole right there, and so that looks relatively close to a tire now instead. So, you know, put all that rubber back down inside, and then you know, look, if you want that to look like a tire, well, you know what? At the edge of the tire, there's also moldy bits. It should really be there. So there you go. So now you have, you know, now you have a nice easy concept for tire wall. I'll have to sand these pieces again, the rough edges, but you know, instantly, boom. You know, you've got the opportunity for tire walls. Super fun. I'll just keep it going here. Hang on. So we'll take our sanding block out here, right? Let's get rid of these rough edges because we do want these to sit flat. So we'll get rid of the rough edges. And again, the more these things look scuffed up, you know, even better, right? So, you know, it's tires. So we'll put a little bit of elbow grease into making these things look a little bit more conforming. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, and I didn't really drill the straightest hole on that one, so it bothers me, which is really silly. I'm going to do the bottom of this one since it has a little bit of a higher bezel right there from the rubber, a higher flange. There you go, relatively quick and easy again. Just get yourself the right size bit that makes that look like it was, I don't know, maybe it's if this is 32nd scale, then these tires are probably, you know, dump truck tires or 18-wheeler tires. But doesn't that make much more sense if they're more sturdy tires that would be there than opposed to tires for a race car? Oops, look at that. Took it right off. If you're trying to provide tire protection, or if you're trying to provide barrier protection for the next, you know, for the next generation, or for the fans that are there, then, you know, that it's an importance that you have larger tires, I would think, right? So, all right, let's hit that back up and make our little repair here, right? And again, it's that simple. There's no rules to this, right? There's just no rules at all, other than maybe don't burn your finger too many times. But, you know, there you go. So now, you know, you've got a little even more realistic look, right? You've got legitimately tires. So now, here, let's go one step further. I don't think I have rattle can in blue in the moment, or yellow. Not true. Hang on. I do. Now, I don't know how well this will look because it's meant for plastic, but why the heck not? So again, let's keep it growing. Let's keep it going. Let's get some crude taping here. Too wide. Do I have any smaller tape? I may not have smaller tape. I do not. That's all right. All we need is a very small amount, so really it shouldn't take a whole heck of a lot. Let's just tape to the bottom of one of these. Well, like I said, tape to the bottom of one of these. You're just going for the look and feel, right? You're not doing something that is, you know, we're not tuning a slot car here, right? We're doing scenery that is meant to catch the eye and pop. So if I come back here carefully and I cut my tape, hopefully that's on camera. I know I closed in a little bit, but hopefully this is on camera. Boy, this blade could be, I think I might be cutting the tire right off of here. Maybe you could do this part beforehand, right? You could just put all your tires down and spray them, but I'm just showing you an example of any way that it could be done, right? Get our tape off of here now. Well, didn't cut through there. Why not? Why didn't it? There we go. Okay, so again, maybe be smarter than me, right? I'm the first guy that's experimenting, so somebody else make it better. Maybe spray your tires before you stack them, right? So that's an idea. Why don't I do that? I'll do that off camera. And so there you have it, right? Crude, but quite effective. Or maybe you don't think it's crude at all, but that's exactly my point, right? Just boom, right? And then you can alternate, right? Do 2 yellow and 1 blue, and then you blue, 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 or whatever. Just make them all blue on the top and yellow in the middle, whatever you feel like doing. And, it's awesome. And then there you have it, a little test fit in front of Frodos. And I'm not saying that would stop a car from destroying that, but you are turning away from the action. So, as the Castrol team is looking on at maybe they stopped for a burger and some onion rings. But there you go. And I propped it up on top of one, but it's still not really enough. You can still barely see the bottom blue one. So again, I might build a false patio there for Frodos, and then maybe we use those, right? There wouldn't be an awful lot of room for patrons to get behind it, but I think it could be effective. It's the only place where you order. You pick up at those windows and you order here. There'll be a sign right there and a menu on the wall. But yeah, again, just little things that we can do to enhance. Right, and there you go. Whatever makes it real to you, right? So that's pretty cool, right? So I'll do some, there'll be some definite custom work there. I think the tires are a nice adage for the fact that there's going to be a grandstand there, and then we'll do a little fence. I'll make an appropriate fence there. But again, I think it's just such a thing. It's a nice upcycle. Man, I love it. So we have a continuation here where now here's our fence. So this is just matte black on this mesh, plastic mesh, and this is the back side of it. So the front side of it is a little bit more, well, you'll see it in a moment. But then what I did is I took 1 9/16 brad nails that have a little head to them, as you can see, and easy for me to say. In the shadows there, maybe you can see that head, or I can bring it up closer, or maybe it just won't like it. Yeah, there we go. And so I've decided to go with 3 in the sides where it starts, and then if you'll notice, there's a little bit of a mesh mark. Now, it didn't happen to work out perfectly, but it kind of did, because it's tiny little dots where the mesh was made. And so I'm going to go in the middle on each one of those, and then when I make my way to the ends, I'm going to go right up against the edge, because that is enough that takes up space in between the tires and the rest of the side of Frodos. So yeah, I think it's pretty close to being equidistant on the sides like that. And so yeah, I'm just going to do some super glue. I don't want to use the hot glue because I don't want it to shine through the mesh. I've got my backer, and so I don't even know if I showed this last time. I can always edit this out, but just a decent bit, and then just find your spot where it's already etched. Come right over the top of it with that flange to catch the top. Hold it in place for just a few seconds, and the glue should do the rest. And of course, at the end, like I said, I did a 3-pack to make it look like the last, the first and last part of the fence needed a little bit more strength, or I don't know, symmetry. Who am I? And like so. There it is. There it is. So there you have it. Right. I'll close in a little bit on that thing and kind of show you how that is, and then we'll pick it up and we'll line it up. And really, honestly, it's it's truly staying just by. Oh, I glued myself. It's staying because of the fact that it's catching some of the carpet when I put it in there with the nail edge. And so we'll take a look at that. We'll give that a minute or two to dry. Okay, so now we hope handleable, and we come in and find the best way to lean over and run it out messing up the driver's station and other things. Okay, right at the edge of that tire barrier and at the edge of the other side. Get it all the way up against the track. And there you go. Whew. All right. Now, detach, close in here. Not the greatest lighting. Maybe I can fix that. All right, there we go. So now you can get an idea. Oh, look at that. Now we have a contiguous fence right up through American Alley. Yep, and there are the tunnels that lead you back to the main grandstand and other parts and about. And now you have your fence. You have your beautiful tire wall. The rest of your fence. Oh, some of the Castrol racing team looking on, and Frodos starting to move in the kitchen. That is looking very, very nice. Well, there you have it. That is the complete picture. About 95%. I got to button up the joints, and well, we got to get our certificate of occupancy reviewed, and we got to get more furniture up in there. I see some countertops in there though, but yeah, we've really got a lot of progress going on right here. Trying to increase the light a little bit without making it come out weird. Yeah, there's your ordering window, and there's your pickup window, and oh, the tires are awesome. Fence railing with the metal posts came out really well. Hey, stop in, man, and you know, hey, listen, I go with a Bilbo's butt kicker, but if you want Sauron Sizzler, and you know, Frodo's favorites are good too for the rings, but if you go with Sauron Seasoned combined with a, Saruman Seasoned combined with Sauron Sizzler, that's a, you might be wanting a fire hose after those hot foods, but they got some great stuff on there. You could always get Gandalf's vanilla milkshake to go along with it and get some Shire pudding at the end. But we're super excited about Frodo's place. And no, we don't serve fries, as you might imagine. Burgers, onion rings, shakes, some fountain drinks, and dessert. But yeah, that came out really, really cool, man. It's just about done there. And then, you know, we had some leftover tires. Oh, I forgot to take them from outside. They're not finished drying yet. I showed you a bunch of nothing there that you've seen that Rolex bridge before, but nah, that's so exciting for me. That's been a long time in the making, so super fun. Well, I'm just super thrilled to have that section completed, having most of Frodo's done. I'm gonna hit up some folks about some 32nd scale 3D printed figurines. I'm not into the 3D printing. Shoot, I'm not even the greatest painter, but we got to get some folks flipping some burgers and serving up some onion rings there. So leave me some feedback in the comments there if you like what you see, and I will talk to you all later. Keep finding your place to pull that trigger and enjoy the world of slot cars.
If you don't subscribe to Hobbit Racing, I'll poke you with my staff. Pokey, pokey, pokey.
She will poke you with her staff.
Pokey!